You're listening to Mama's Garage Podcast.
Welcome back to Mama's Garage. Guys, today's a crazy good episode. Just I already know it. You know what I have in the library right now? Mr. Matt Smith. I used to call him Mr. Smith, but since now we're both adults, I'm nearly in my 20s now, I have the exclusive advantage to calling him Matt. And you're going to hear me slip up throughout the whole episode.
That's okay. I'll correct you.
That's good. Great. Awesome. Now, we were talking for, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes so far. We picked up right where we left off whenever I was one of your students, which let me just start off by saying the whole episode, I had you first because your class, film class, I had you in film class my senior year and speech. I favored one over the other, obviously. But
I bet I know which one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The one where we get to watch movies all day was pretty fun. But it was the most fun I'd ever had in school ever. And I got to have, and I used to wake up and for like half of high school, I would just go and play drum set first period every day, which is an absolute joy. But I didn't realize how much I loved movies until you showed me the ropes. And,
that makes me feel really. It just makes me feel
good. That's awesome because I know that I could just tell that you had passion what you were doing and it transferred. And that's I was for sure the teacher's pet in there. That's because I just had the most fun.
Yeah.
Not everyone cared as much as me.
No, I think you and I had the best conversations in there.
Most certainly, yeah. And then I had you in speech, and not that now that I do comedy, that like. What I realized in that class, every time I did a speech, I always went over because I know internal clock, and I wanted to squeeze as much stuff into the presentations as possible. Yeah. And I'm sure you get this a lot, or maybe you don't even ask people about it. But I never watched my speeches back ever because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the grade no matter what. But what I'm bringing that up for is that. I learned that about myself. So the first time I ever did stand up, I was supposed to do 10 minutes. And I ended up doing 7.5. I didn't have enough material to do it, but I knew I was like, if I cut it short, it's better than going over. But I knew I have a tendency to do that because of your class. So you saved me some trouble. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, and then I would, if you remember, that's a 2-trimester class, and I was in the whole. So I had you all year, my senior year. I had you for just film class first trimester. And then second trimester, just speech. And then it was supposed to be all of the rest of the year was film class second period. And then I think speech at the end of the day. But I came to you around like at the end of March, I think. And I was like, Mr. Smith, at the time, I'm not going to college. I do not need this English credit anymore. And I do think I'm going to drop out of here. And I was expecting you to be like, but what? I thought we were teacher-student buddies. But you were like, hey, thanks for coming to me about it. Yeah, I don't care. Go ahead. I totally understand. And I was like, oh, that's the coolest interaction I've ever had with a teacher. Not like a real no. I like waited after we did it privately, and then I just sat in the senior success center the whole rest of the school year and just listened to Carl all day.
He's a good study in public speaking too.
For sure. I think I might have him on the show eventually.
Yeah.
He's actually the reason why he planted the seed that I should have a podcast years ago. I was in Mr. Dunn's class. It was like, this was during the COVID year. So my sophomore year, it was like early 2021. And he went into the vacation wing, was like, hey, Ron. And I was like, I shouldn't have heard that, should I? But he's talking to Mr. Dunn. And then I had to ask a question, and it was across the room, so I kind of raised my voice, and then whatever I said caught Carl's ear big time, and he goes, "Wow, you have a radio voice," and I was like, "Thanks, Mr. Whoever you are." I didn't know him at the time at all, and so from then on, I was like, "Oh, I guess there's a future in this." And now, what do you know? Less than 5 years later, I have my own radio show on. No broadcast. It's on Spotify, YouTube.
That's important.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the big time.
Some people say wherever you get your podcasts, and I'm like, Spotify. YouTube. Who uses Apple Podcasts?
I don't.
You listen to podcasts. You showed me the Films to Be Buried With, haven't you?
I listened to that podcast.
Yeah,
I listened to yours too.
Okay, awesome.
And I remember that Carl story from your first episode.
Oh, awesome! Heck yeah! Was it just my solo one? Because I've had great. Because I was just in my room.
Excuse me.
Guys.
Sorry.
You guys, there's no camera, but what he just did, he didn't cough into the mic. He turned around. This man, see, this is why I have him in here. He's very. I've been talking like for the past 5 minutes.
That's okay.
For those who don't know who Matt Smith is, I would like you take it away. So what have you been up to? You got your teacher, but your voice. Your voice is their most signature aspect of
Is
you.
it?
I mean, more people have heard it than have seen your face.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I'm panicking now.
No, it's fine. All right, yeah, I'll let the groundwork. I've heard your voice. I think the last time my old cover band Pants did a show, it was at the amphitheater on the like just a few blocks away.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing you do a commercial.
To my left, and you're right.
That's right. I remember you voicing a commercial there. I don't know what it was for, but so I'm assuming you do like just side work and stuff. You have your own mic set up at home, and that's cool. You get to use your voice like that. You have a great. If Carl was in the room when you were 15, wow, he would have pressed the gold buzzer.
I like that analogy. Yeah, I do. That what you heard was like a pre-show announcement.
Okay.
Just kind of like welcoming everybody, and my voice just got deeper because you said that. But it's the guy who kind of promotes all the concerts around here.
Mm-hmm.
He hired me on to do all the pre-show stuff, and I do some commercials too, some radio stuff. Mostly local stuff. I've done a couple regional things.
Oh, yeah?
And I got to, the first time I did it, I got to have my voice in a movie theater, like before those commercials, before the trailers start.
Okay. So you were the Ronina Menounos or whatever, like the newbie lady.
There you go.
Yeah. She's a hack, though. She doesn't got your bass.
I
know?
mean, yeah.
Oh, well.
I could teach her a few things.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I remember hearing about you through high school, and then you and I didn't have any interaction. And my first interaction with you, I believe, was like the summer between my junior and senior year, because I remember you made a trailer for the film class, and you in my junior year you were like, hey guys, the 3 grades that aren't graduating, look out. And I was you made the trailer, and I knew you used like quality mics for that, because it was like you use your in a world, one of those voices. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. You had like Free Guy in there, but like a few other movies, I'm sure, like probably Ghostbusters or something. Back to the Future, probably one of your favorites.
There was a lot. It was a big old word I just forgot.
Yeah, but I can tell
compilation.
Compilation. But I could tell that it was like the school wasn't like, Matt, we need you to make a trailer. You were just like, I'm gonna make a trailer so I can get all the correct people in here because they're going to appreciate it. So I saw that and I was like, whatever I have to do, I will be in that class. And I consider myself a film class pioneer. I think. Yeah,
you were the first.
Yeah, me and Reese. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reese is the one that told me about it, and I was like, you got it, absolutely. Yeah. Even if it's just the two of us in there.
I think I had Reese in speech, and I was pushing it in that class, trying to get people to come in.
Yeah, that's for sure what happened, because I think he had it his junior year. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. You still do that class? That's still happening?
Yeah, I didn't have it this past year.
Okay.
I guess not enough people signed up, but
tough.
I have
Dude,
a semester
their loss. We could have just done it. Who cares?
I would have been all about it.
Yeah.
I would have just sat in there by myself. I could have.
Yeah. Just talking to nobody. Well, the way you framed that class out, we weren't watching movies just to watch movies. They all had a purpose, which I was like, oh, that's really insightful. Because like we watched, just sort of, I forgot to do my mental research about this, but for example, we watched Edward Scissorhands for the use of color. I had not seen that movie before, and I was like, and I left that class being a huge Tim Burton fan. And then you towards the end of the first trimester, you just turned on Rear Window. You were like, we're gonna watch this for the sake of watching it. So I was like, this has to be good. And because I was born 50 years after that movie was even released, I was like, this is like, it felt like the first time I'd ever like interacted with history before, because it's that old. And that's in my top 10. I've only seen it once, and I have the DVD now. I got it for Christmas that year, I think. Nice. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but I still need to watch Vertigo.
I just watched that all the way through recently.
Oh, really?
I've never seen it all the way through.
Oh, really? Okay.
Just a couple weeks ago, actually.
It's just, what's the man's name? Like the actual actor's name?
If you wouldn't have asked me that question, I could have told you.
Yeah, okay.
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart, yeah. He just falls around the blonde lady. That's all I've gathered so far.
Yeah, and there's a little more to it than that. That's what I thought, because I thought the same thing. Because I think I showed you guys a clip or a scene or something.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was maybe it was. Is there a scene where she's like reaching for money or something in like a vault? because I remember we talked about that and how that was. I remember that scene is what so I attached the phrase. You can movies can kind of slow down time or speed up time, or you can, it's on you can manipulate it basically.
I don't think that's the.
I don't think it's the one either.
movie.
I feel like you don't see, but I knew it was like an older one.
But yeah, you're right. He does chase a blonde lady,
Yeah.
but there's a purpose for it.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, he's kind of creepy about this, but then when I saw the whole thing,
Oh, but the times.
the times, how they've
They
changed.
didn't have rights yet. It was 70 years ago. Not that they shouldn't have. I'm just saying it's just a matter of fact. I didn't write history.
And Hitchcock was all about his blonde.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I also watched recently. I'd seen it before, but I watched it again because it came on Netflix. The movie Hitchcock, which is about the making of Psycho, and it mentions his love of blondes and how it kind of took over his life for a minute.
Mm-hmm. He's not a very handsome fella.
He's not.
He's a bulldog, man.
He is a bulldog.
Because you know how there's always like now with the current culture and the diets and everything, people are more large than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Back then, he was just plump.
He was plump.
I don't get it.
He looked like a plum.
Yeah, that's right. Very much plummish. But yeah, to go back to the topic, what else we watched? We watched another Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp. Where's it? Barber. Sweeney Todd. Yeah, for the use of camera movement.
Mm-hmm.
I also have that on DVD because of that class.
Mm-hmm.
What we watched? We also watched Psycho. I forget why we watched Psycho though. For the
I think we watched that during the history stuff.
probably so. Yeah. Because I really enjoyed. I think the first one we watched was called The Artist, which I thought was good because I was like, oh, that's Sully, that's John Goodman, I know him. Yeah, Donnie, you're out of your element. It's Big Lebowski. Yeah, but it's and that movie. Didn't that movie? It won a few Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2011 or whatever. Yeah, that's cool. And then actually between the first trimester and the third trimester of that class, the movie Babylon came out, which is the same director as Whiplash and La La Land.
Damien Chazelle.
We know our stuff, everybody. But that, to this day, is my favorite movie I've ever been in the theater to witness for the first time. Okay. It just, from top to bottom. It's very reminiscent of The Artist, though. It's the exact same storyline. It just takes it a much more colorful, longer, dramatic, and just
and they talk.
Yeah, that's right. They do. That's the big part of it. Yes, they don't just wait till an hour 40 in to be like, oh, you know what, John? You go ahead. But yeah. That movie was just it was a modern version of what movies used to feel like, and it was done very well. So yeah, I remember that one a lot. But yeah, we also watched Iron Man for the Hero's Journey and Rocky, which I feel like if that class would have lasted longer, we would have gotten more into script structure. Yeah, just because that's what I wanted to really learn about.
Did we not talk about script structure, story structure?
Well, we did our own scripts and stuff, which I really I have that printed out still. It's in my old safety or my old safe keep bins. But one of my in the very broad idea of how I want my life to go, it's I want to do drums and I want to do comedy. I want to keep this podcast going.
You said do drums, and my brain thought you were going to say do drugs.
Oh, no. It's one letter away.
That's where my brain goes.
Very different.
Drums.
I want to play drugs. I want to be a drummer and do comedy and juggle those two things. But then whenever I decide to have a family, which I know I'm going to do, then I'll have all this time in my hands. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go pull my laptop out and I'm going to start, try to write everything down. And I still have these ideas, just things that occur throughout my life. And I'm like, I should put that in my notes app for whenever, who knows how long an iCloud lasts, but I might, keep this for a while. Just small little scene ideas that I just might think of. I remember I was mopping the floor at Greeks once and I had an idea and I was like, I'm writing that down right now. That might, maybe 2053 Luke will thank me now. Yeah. So who knows?
I do that all the time.
Yeah, but I just I do. The more I reflect on that class, the more I like to dissect movies, and the more I find myself rewatching ones I've already seen as opposed to rewatching new ones, because there's so many more things you can different filters you can apply to a movie. Even Pitch Perfect, I think it's a very good the structure that it just flows very well. It's very steady, and I noticed that on the 15th time I've seen that movie. It's a guilty pleasure movie my mom and I watch a lot. Yeah. But I was like, hey, this is a really good this is there's no dull moments. Everything has a purpose. You know, the next scene leads into the other. And there's another movie podcast I've gotten into. It's probably more harsh than the one you listen to, but it's hosted by a comedian named Ronan Hirschberg. He's a very jolly Jewish man from New York, and he's very funny, but he also has a lot of his own opinions. He's on his own script writing as well, but the podcast is called Your Favorite Movie Sucks, which is great. Usually, you know, that's what the episodes or the show is called, but he usually will have a lot of good things to say about the movies. But there's at least 20 episodes of that already. I listen to podcasts at work nonstop, though. So, yeah, but then again, I do this as well. So I mean, I'm studying, you know, it's all that. But I hear his critiques on scripts a lot, and I'm like, I wonder what Matt would have to say about that. And I can't. I think. Oh, so for example, this is a good example in my brain. Usual Suspects.
Okay.
Kevin Spacey, not a great guy, but really good actor from the '90s, and American Beauty, all those movies, right? But he says that Ronan says that he does not like Usual Suspects because it cheats, and I was like, I guess that's true, because the idea of a good twist is that you should be able to guess it. And he used the spoiler alert, Sixth Sense version, because obviously what you're seeing on screen before the first watch of that movie, you're believing Bruce Willis is there, but they leave breadcrumbs of the truth that if you don't pick up on them, you get to rewatch. You're like, oh, that's insane, but they don't change it, just like this crazy thing at the end. But in Usual Suspects, Kevin Spacey is in his own flashbacks being scared of himself, so the viewer has no chance of guessing the thing, right? And I was like, I guess that's true. Yeah. It's still a good twist, though. Yeah. And it's very, and it became kind of like a pulp culture kind of a thing. I've heard people say it in podcasts, quote and everything, and I'm like, I know history. The movie came out, 96, I think, so I was -9. Pretty cool. So I still know stuff. But that's just like there's just stuff to keep in mind for whenever I want to write a script. I know I keep talking to them. We'll get to the teacher question soon. I promise.
That's okay.
I knew we would.
I like this more.
Yeah, great. Yeah, for sure. Reese and I went to go watch the newest Mission Impossible movie. It was in IMAX, and it's very long, and there's a lot of uninterrupted action sequences where Tom Cruise is just flexing. He's like, oh, I'm 85 and I can hold my breath for 90 million years. Watch this. I'm gonna go grab the key. And it's really cool. It's like visually aesthetic. But all I was doing the whole time, I don't know what triggered this, but I wrote an entire short film in my brain where it's just me in it. And I don't want to do it until the winter because right now the weather's nice and I've been drumming a lot more. So whenever it gets cold out, I have to put my drums away. And usually I just get all sad and watch movies. I'm like, I wish I could go drum right now, but it's cold out. But now, this year, I'm going to try to focus my mind on comedy sketches, but also trying to pull off the short film idea. Okay. Basically, it's me, and I buy myself a clone of me. So I played myself in 2 different ways. And I want to work, it's a way to work on my own acting skills and everything. Yeah. But I want to work on the editing tricks where it feels like I'm in the same room with myself a lot. Okay. And, there's no script. This is just the elevator pitch. But what I do like about, movies like 12 Angry Men, versions of scenes from the Saw movies, they're all self-contained. Like you remember the movie Cube we talked about once? That's it. I think it takes place in that one little stage where it just has 6 different ways to go through. I like movies that could easily just be a play, but then the way you kind of enjoy it as a film is that they use those editing techniques and everything. So I want to just use the rooms of my house, and just there's a few places I've thought about where I'm like that'll be good. I just set the camera right there because I can't really pilot myself the whole time because I don't want to do like a selfie movie. That feels weird and disingenuous. But I really got into cinematography and the way composition of a frame a lot as well. So I want to do a lot of that stuff. This is actually the first time I've spoken about that out loud. Okay. But you're the only guy I would trust with it off the bat. When I speak into existence. Yeah. So have you ever? Because one of the ideas you want us to do in the film class was you want us to make iPhone movies. So I was like, I've been thinking about that ever since. And so do you have any Because I was probably just going to use CapCut to do it because I have a CapCut Pro. I just that new job I got is benefiting. And so there's plenty of things I can learn about on there. But do you have any tips on how to potentially improve that, being the writer, the director, and the star of your own project?
I'm not familiar with CapCut, so I don't really know.
Okay.
I know what it is, but I've never used it.
It's basically like TikTok software, but but you can use it for grander projects though. It's what I used to edit the podcast actually.
Okay. All right. There's that. Know what you're going to do ahead of time, so you need to plan out all the shots since you're going to be in them and potentially shooting them as well.
Yeah.
Just make sure you plan everything, get plenty of coverage of everything, even if you're not going to use it. And then that way you can mess around with edits.
Yeah, we can have a deluxe version later.
Yeah. A director's cut.
Even
though it will already be that.
It'll have like probably 8 views on it after a month. I'm going to put it on YouTube. There's no working title. Okay, but yeah, that's good stuff.
The table with my knee.
It's all right. This is real stuff, everybody. It's a real clap. This is real wood, I guess.
I think I hit my tooth on the mic earlier, too. But it's all good. It is real. It's real.
That's right. Okay, so planning everything ahead, just like...
Yep. I think that's the most important thing. Plan it out. Even if you don't have a script with like dialogue or anything like that.
Which I do want to use the Yumi script. Is that the software we used?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I want to use that just so that way I can print it off if I have to. That way it's like, this is the first thing I ever did, you know? I guess the thing we did in your class would be the first thing I ever, wrote out. But
and it's so cool to see when you use things like that. You actually follow screenplay format. I think it's an ego boost when you see you've written things that Hollywood would accept, whether they will or not.
That's true, because that's how movies are. They'll exist like that, and it's all you need is patience, a brain that can fire, and then just like the paper and the ink. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a blank canvas is pretty intimidating, but then we just keep going. I've also learned recently, like, you just get the first draft done.
Yep.
Then that's like a lot of it. You can just start tweaking from there and start rearranging and everything.
Just get that done. Just work through that.
Yeah.
Don't edit it. Just get it all out of your head.
Yeah,
and
just
then
for word vomit. Yeah.
Yep.
I've learned that with a lot of bits I might write in my brain. I might be like, I don't know if that works. I'm like, just write it out, do it, and then you're gonna be better. It's like the mild sauce run. It only gets hotter from here. I've been saying that for years. No one's ever laughed, so thank you.
I love it.
All right, well, we had some questions prepared. The first 20 minutes were spent on a bunch of stuff I've just been swimming around my brain for the past 2 years,
That's
whatever.
Okay.
Let's see.
To go back. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure.
Forceful.
No, you're good. I just want to make sure we get the right pacing. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Pacing.
We talked about watching Psycho in that class, and I remembered why. It wasn't the history. It was for composition, and it was the whole left, right, right, left, how characters look from right to left or left to right, and what all that means.
Yeah. And like what the French were, like mise en scene. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation.
I'm not French, so
sorry,
it's
madame.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember that being in like almost all of the lesson plans. Oh, guys, guess what Matt did once? I was like, hey, I want all the film class notes. And he was like, okay, and just send them to me. They're on my MacBook. I have them. I figured out how to transfer. I learned how to transfer files because I'm learning all that stuff. So I'll be consulting that a lot around November, around the holidays. So that's very good stuff.
Hopefully that doesn't make me obsolete, and you're like, I don't need you anymore, so I don't
You're like, no,
have to talk to you ever
I have your
again.
work. The author of these. Well, the reason why I brought him in, of course, we have the film background and all that, and speech, but like I more focus on film. That just my favoritism. But I want to, just to give a back, I'm probably going to say this every time I have a teacher on, but I had the opportunity, if you will, to teach at the middle schools the year after I graduated. The idea was I went back to teach marching band as a drum tech, but a lot of the kids, or I guess they were my peers forever, who were in there. I was like, if I come back and become a teacher, that's gonna, first of all, I'm not gonna be able to just swap around the way I treat these guys and just be all of a sudden be a teacher with like a name badge or whatever. That's gonna be like a really weird thing. So the compromise I decided was like, how about I take myself to the middle school, because those kids they're gonna think I'm 30. They have no idea. They don't know I used to walk these halls 4 years ago. They have no idea, and they didn't. They all thought I was like, oh, I thought you were 25. I'm like, dude, I
what's up, Granddad?
I don't even have a credit card yet. That was true. And so what happened? So I from the school year of 2023 to 2024, I would it was usually about once a week, sometimes twice. I'd go to the middle schools and I would teach over the course of over on Thursdays 4 different periods of band. It was just me and a bunch of kids learning to drum. I saw a lot of myself in a lot of these kids because, of course, in order to get to where I'm at musically, you have to go through the ringer of being a beginner. And so what I've found through that is that you really get to dial in on the fundamentals and stuff, which is really good. But I also learned teaching is very difficult, and it's not for everybody. No. And I'm happy I got
some days it's not for me.
Yeah, well, that's and there's a few of the questions are wrapped around that idea. But I left that. I was not asked to go back to next year, nor did I want to go back to next year. Friends of the podcast know about this. I've been about it constantly, but I'm even at the footnotes. But the best thing about that was I left with a phenomenal respect for the teachers I've had and teachers to come. Right, few people, I use a good school for teachers. I think you went to Georgia, right, for part of your college stuff.
Yeah, I actually didn't go to school to be a teacher, but I did. I went down to Savannah College of Art and Design.
That's right, Savannah,
for grad school.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the idea was I wanted to bring some teachers in, and now that we're both adults, I know I'm a young adult, but
that's okay.
It's not inappropriate anymore. I'm not being like, hey, want to go meet the library? I study over with some microphones. But I want to pick the brains of people who have been doing it longer than a year, and so that's what these questions are for, and that's most of the reason why you are here. But I did miss you, so it's nice to see you again, sir.
It's good to see you too.
All right, so
I was really excited when you asked me to do this.
Yeah,
but like I said, I was nervous. I still am nervous.
Yeah, don't worry. We're good. It's only been 26 minutes. We're good.
And I keep nodding over here, and I realize that people can't see me nod whenever you say something.
Yeah, but I'm looking over in the corner a bunch to gather like my mental notes, and you're just like, make sure I look good for the people. That's really good for. Yeah, I might get a camera eventually, but okay, I do like just having audio. It's easier because I can all of my podcast stuff. We're not plugged into a wall at all. Maybe in the future when I get a better mixer, but it all fits into my backpack.
That is nice.
It's very, very nice. Very portable. Very ergonomic.
No, I'm impressed with this setup.
Thank you. Yeah. Shout out Sweetwater. They set me up. My sales rep, Matt Lamarck.
Good name.
That's right. That's great. Yeah. No way. No kidding. Good name. I was actually texting you and him yesterday because I ordered some stuff first of all to upgrade the podcast, but also some comedy things coming in the mail. And I was like, I'm texting both these Matt dudes, and then I turned the podcast on this morning, and another Matt was. I was like, dude,
it's fate.
It's gonna. I'm all wrapped up this
telling
week.
You what to do.
So the in perfect fashion, the first question that I have on this list of questions is, what was your first day of teaching like?
Okay, so I wasn't sure how to interpret this question. If it was like my very, very first day, or if it's like the first day every year.
Okay, sure. Yeah. That's a great, because I want to keep it kind of vague because we can tackle it from different angles. So you brought notes, is that correct?
I did.
Okay,
I brought 3 pages of notes.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, I don't want to make sure you use those.
Well, it's a lot of nonsense, so we probably won't need.
Well, yeah, we'll just. It's fine. I mean, I was very happy to see those, but the idea is that I just get to hear what you had to say. But you please use it as a reference, because that's what I take. I take my joke book on stage a lot, where I'm like, I don't know, what I'm about to say next. Oh yeah, it's right there. We're good. This just keeps the truck rolling.
I'm going off on a tangent. Have you ever seen? Oh, and I just forgot the name of it. It's a series on Prime. It's about a female comedian. She's Jewish. What is it called? I don't know.
There's a lot of Jewish female comedians because Sarah Silverman.
Well, it's fictional. It's
okay.
It's a series.
Jenny Slate is one of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The actress plays Lois Lane in the new Superman.
We need a Jamie like on Joe Rogan. We need someone to consult to look this stuff up.
I just need a healthier brain.
How should I remember? How should I Google this?
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Okay, I've heard of that. I've not watched it. But
you said you take your joke book up on stage, and there are episodes where she does that, and other characters do it, and it just made me think of that. There's really no point to me telling you that, other than it just made me think.
Guess what? We could edit it out if we want to, but it's part of the show. And plus, I get to add this to what you just said. I did a show at a coffee shop last week in Bloomington. At shout out Cup and Kettle, Wyatt and Veronica. Thank you guys. And they do a good job of like while we're up on stage, I'll take pictures of us and like add like a caption that's relevant to what we're talking about. But a lot of us were just kind of running through new stuff up there because it's a very small show. But we all were holding small books and had a microphone, so it looked like slam poetry. But it was billed as it was a naughty comedy night. And
naughty because you're reading books.
That's right. Yeah. It was all smut.
Smut.
Yeah.
Such a good word.
It is a good word. I like. Yeah, it's very precise. It's very concise. It's only 4 letters, and they all have a. Yeah, they're all used.
And it's a
correctly.
hard word. Smut.
Yeah, that's right. Just the first. Yeah, so I guess I would like to hear about how the first day is every year. I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
But like, I do want to hear first about like, what was it like waking up that morning, making sure you set your alarm, and then going to school. I'm a teacher now, you know.
Yeah.
Or of course, you have to like. There's like a graduation process where you have to be like, you know, maybe a teacher aide for a while. So Miss Littell did it. She was I think she was in Miss Randall's room for a while, and then she got to be a teacher next year. So whatever, you know, I only know so much.
So the typical way to do it is obviously go to school to be a teacher, and then during that time, you're a student teacher. That's usually the last couple of years. You do that at a couple different schools, but I didn't do any of that.
Nice.
Because I didn't realize, and this answers another question later, I didn't realize I was going to be a teacher. I never really wanted to be a teacher, which we'll come back to that later. But the first day, I can't really remember my first day because I started as a sub. And so I was like the sub at that time because there weren't too many. And so I was just willing to do it because it was extra cash. I didn't have much else going on. So I subbed a lot, and I subbed a lot at the middle school. It was West Middle School at the time.
That's right.
Wooden Middle School now.
JRW.
And I was there just about every day. And then a teacher passed away at the start of the year. It was maybe about a month into the year. Maybe not even that. I can't remember exactly.
That's unfortunate, though.
It was pretty sad. But I filled in and I became the permanent sub there in her classroom, and it was an English class. And I just subbed. She had made plans for a couple weeks before that. And so I just followed those along, and then I was offered the job, and I just rolled with it. There wasn't really much of a transition. I just kept going.
It's a good glide into it, as opposed to being like, hey, be there Monday. It's like, where?
Yeah. So I'd already known the ropes. I'd talked to people. I worked with the same people, so we were all pretty familiar with each other, and I liked them, and I think they liked me.
Yeah. And that's middle school, and that's what I was teaching. I taught 7th and 8th graders in the morning, and in the afternoon I taught 6th graders. And take 6th graders right after lunch too. So yeah, it was. I learned.
It's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. And they're all in the hallway, and I'm just a little bit of an older boy than they were.
You're much taller, though.
That's true, and I was hairier for sure, which, you know, that's commanded the respect a little quicker.
It does work.
So like, you've taught middle school and high school. Which do you prefer? What are the strengths and weaknesses of that?
So I started. That was an 8th grade class,
okay,
and I had all 8th grade English. It was English and reading, 2 separate classes, and so I had 8th grade that year, and then after that, at one point they combined the 2, so it was all just one class. And I did 7th and 8th grade, and then eventually I just did 7th. I never did 6th grade, and I'm kind of glad.
Yeah,
I subbed in 6th grade, and it's just a different beast. And I subbed in the elementary school one time, and that was enough because my sister teaches 4th grade. I subbed for her one day.
At Paragon. That's where I went. I knew her before I knew you. And then when you told me you guys were siblings, it blew my mind. I was like, well, because Smith is such a common name, I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Because I had the other Miss Smith. It was she used her maiden name, Miss Hoyt Smith, and I was always like, I don't want the other one, but I never told Miss Hoyt Smith that. Yeah, that was over 10 years ago. I was in 4th grade.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was at the middle school 10 years ago. Yep.
2015. Yeah. Before I forget about it.
Oh, I keep banging the table with my knee.
It's all right. I mean,
it's a short table.
It is a short table.
And there's a weird bar that goes across.
I don't think I have that bar.
Do you want it?
Yeah, we can trade spots. I'll be the guest. Yeah, you can read my questions. So a lot of I consider like the beginning of like my free will life is like when I turned 11, I started playing drums at the it was by accident. I filled out this little form going into 6th grade, and I just wound up in a percussion class. And do you know who my first percussion class teacher was?
Was it Mr. Miller?
Mr. Miller.
Oh,
I know you guys have a history.
We do.
And just remind me what that's about.
Okay, so
was it like a weekly show you guys did? These were like, Abbott Costello.
It was so much fun. And I was thinking about that when I was coming up with these notes.
Awesome. Glad it came out organically.
Yeah. So the last couple of years when I was at the middle school, we had, let me back up a little bit. So they had announcements. Obviously at school, they have announcements every day.
Mm-hmm.
Some students read the announcements. They just sat in front of a camera and read the printout of the announcements on camera.
Boring as hell. Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, if they just got tired of that or what, or if not enough students wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the principal came to me and asked me, she knew I had some experience editing and shooting things and journalism stuff. And so she asked me if I would be interested in doing the announcements. Obviously she wanted me to do them.
Yeah.
But she
wanted to come to it from like a, you know.
She wanted to give me the option.
It's like, yeah.
But I was going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't give me any direction, nothing. She just said, do some announcements. And at first it was the same thing. It was just me reading the announcements in front of the camera. And then
professional shirt tucked in.
Yeah. I think I even had a tie on.
Oh, of course.
And
absolutely.
And so I started thinking about some things to add into it and just kind of rewriting the announcements. And I started putting in different things. In the first episode that I actually edited, which it's so dumb, but people laughed and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, right.
And I said, we're going to take a look at some weather. And I just put in just a quick clip of a tornado, and that was it.
That's perfect. That's a good, yeah.
And so people laughed at that, and I thought, well, I'm going to keep adding in some
you're
stuff.
like, yeah, because that's, anytime I get any sort of a pop in a classroom, with some dumb slide, or even if I'm an idiot, if I get the reaction, I'm like, I'm doing that every day for the rest of my life. Yeah. That's why I wanted to do stand up, because you just crave. People say it's like a people pleasing mechanism where it's like trying to ascertain that, but it's more just like it makes me happy to make people happy.
I think it's pleasing yourself more than anything. Self pleasure.
Yeah.
Which just took a turn. But anyway, back to middle school.
Yeah. Self pleasure, middle school go hand in hand.
So I did these announcements and I started editing them and making them more polished and adding graphics and things in there. And so they eventually just became one day a week, and we played them on Friday. So I worked
That's really fun.
all week to do it. And it was a lot of work, but it was probably the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah, because
at school.
And plus, like, if you give yourself days in advance in a goal, you're like, all right, I guess on Wednesday I'll take care of this. Like, there's all kind of stuff I do on my own where I'm like, oh, I got to rearrange that. I got to go to the gym, or man, the tornadoes, whatever. But that's really fun. Yeah, I would have ate that up if I was
it was a good
if I was
time.
old enough back then.
And so I started adding in student interviews. We did like student spotlights, and then I did staff interviews that were just dumb. And then I stole an idea from an older podcast that I used to listen to.
Oh, wow.
It was a Ricky Gervais podcast.
Ricky Gervais is awesome. Yeah.
And it was
The Original Office.
Yeah. It was Ricky Gervais and one of his sidekicks, Carl Pilkington.
I don't know who he is. I would have known that because that's a crazy last name.
It is.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of the punching bag of the podcast, and they just crack jokes about him all the time. But they did a segment called Learn English with Ricky Gervais.
Okay.
And it was just talking to this guy, and he had some weird ideas and just like...
I like a good broad name like that, because you can do whatever you want with it. That's great.
And so I thought I would try that, and I wanted to try it with Mr. Miller. Scotty Miller.
I forgot that his first name. Scotty Miller, dude.
And so I approached him about being on it. I didn't really tell him what it was, because I wanted to keep it kind of just organic. Just to see what happened.
Because he's a headliner.
He's a headliner. So I set up the camera in his room, and we just went with it, and I started it. And the first thing I said was, "Welcome to Learn English with Mr. Miller." And we just went with it, and it didn't work at all. And the idea I stole just did not work. And I felt bad about stealing it in the first place, because it wasn't original or anything.
Yeah.
But we had the footage.
An homage.
And I started editing stuff together. And there was a better idea that came out of it. And so it then became Life Lessons with Mr. Miller.
Yeah.
And so we started talking about all kinds of stuff. The first one we did was how to order at a restaurant. We did one about like movie theater etiquette. We did a Thanksgiving episode. We did a Friday the 13th.
In the announcements where it's like, hey, let's go Artesians, but also... it would have been like the highlight of my week. It would have been,
it was so much fun to do.
That's great.
I didn't do it every time, but I think people would have gotten tired of it if we did it every time. But
yeah, but that could have developed a lot. That's great because I wish I could have known him a lot later in my life because I'm a much different guy now than I was when I was 11. But then again, you're supposed to be.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I just mean like
if you're not, there's
the trajectory I thought I'd be on is much different. You know, I just a lot of things have happened that are all good. That boost my confidence and stuff.
Yep.
Back then, here's how the first day of percussion class went. I didn't grab a pair of sticks till 2 weeks in. It was a lot of him just talking about stuff.
That sounds about right.
And he told a joke at the very end of the period, and the bell rang before he could finish the punchline. So I had to wait a whole damn day to get back. And the ironic part about it, I'm gonna tell this joke in probably 20 seconds, but he took 3 full fifths of the class to tell the joke.
Sounds like him.
Basically, a guy moves into a town, and he's like a mysterious guy, but the bell tower's all screwed up. So he climbs to the very top of it. He's the only guy in town who knows how to do these types of things. He gets up there, falls, and hits his face on what he's working on and falls to the very bottom of the thing. He's discovered a week later, and a guy that comes into town later, he's like one of the sheriffs, and he's investigating the scene, and one of the townies is like, "Hey, do you know this man?" And he goes, "No, but his face sure does ring a bell." That's the whole joke, right? And the funniest part about that, as I was reflecting on this like this week, is that before he could finish telling that joke, the bell rang. Yeah. It was awful. It was awesome.
That's great.
He was a trombone player primarily. It was his favorite instrument, which is it's one of the coolest brass instruments because he has the slide. He can manipulate a lot of stuff. And he used to wear like a Got Milk shirt, but it was a Got trombone. He wore it like it was like he was a cartoon character, and it's all that the designer wanted to draw. Yeah. He wore that so often. We also played the same song at least once every single time we did a concert. He would just rename it depending on the season. I think it was called like the Hard Rock Blues, and he's like, "All right, this is the Christmas Rock Blues." And then at the end of the year, he was like, "All right, Graduation Blues." And I'm like, "All right, I think I know this one." They're none the wiser because we kept getting better. So better is a very loose term, and when you're 6th grade and you've been playing drums for 4 months. But we played the hell out of that. And then the last time I saw him was the last day of 6th grade because he went home after the show and just like left. And funny enough, my brother Max, which I'm not sure how much you know about my brother Max. We're very different people. Yeah. But he was in 3rd grade when I was in 6th grade, and Max was going to Poston at the time because that's where daycare is better, and I was riding the bus home, so we used to go to Paragon. But he was at Poston, and Mr. Miller was teaching at the middle schools and Poston. So Max and I would come home with Mr. Miller stories without even realizing we're talking about the same guy. So we would be at dinner, and I'd be like, "What's that guy's name?" And I was like, "I think I have him." It's like, "No, it's the." I'm like, "I think it's the same guy," and I don't know what Mr. Miller said to these kids, but it was wildly like something morbid, like I have a dead friend who's dying. He was just venting to children about this. Yeah. And this is on the downfall, right? Of like, because I'm pretty sure he retired the year I left, or like after 6th grade, right? And then I kept hearing on the bus, all the big kids on the bus, they're like, "Oh, you have Mr. Miller? Isn't he retired?" He says he retires every year. I'm like, "This is the one. Trust me." I don't know about the history, but he shouldn't come back. But then, so that was the 2016, 2017 dose of him. But you got, I don't know, maybe more wrapped together, Scott. I totally forgot that was his first name. So Scotty. It's very fun that we had that interaction with that man. I have no idea where he's at now.
I don't either.
I haven't seen him around town. Yeah. He may as well be. I don't know. He taught me the very beginning workings of drums, which has been the most crucial point of my existence for the past nearly decade. Yeah. And I can't even thank him. I can't even pull him into a library study room and be like, "Mr. Miller." Yeah. And then he's in the corner, and the mic's not even picking him up. He's just playing an air trombone. And we're like, "All right, guys, this is a 2-minute episode. Don't worry about it."
I do know at one point he lived in Ellettsville because he always made jokes about Ellettsville during our interviews.
Landed with no one.
Yeah. But
self-serving comic.
When
That's awesome.
when were you a student at the middle school? When did you have him? Do you remember, like, the year?
Oh yeah, so it was 2016. Cause yeah, I started kindergarten on a year. It ended in 0. So every year corresponds with the last digit of the year. So
All right.
6th grade was 2016. So August 2016 to May 2017.
Okay, that was
And
my first year at the high school.
Cool, because that was the first year they did the middle school at Bell, and it was just 6th grade that year. That was my class. We got guinea pigged all around.
Yeah.
And I got to know that class very well because I was surrounded by them. But yeah, that's when I had him. And then I had Mr. Dorsett for 2 years in middle school. He moved to Indy. I still chat with him every now and then. I have his business card. And then I had Mr. Bell ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm my own band director.
There you go.
That's nice, yeah. Well, that was the first question. 45 minutes in. Let's go.
But that was good.
Trucking along. Yeah, that's great. Because I remember I think I looked on your TikTok once. I was like, let's see what he's up to. And I was like, what? I know that guy. I know that guy not very well, but, he's an important feature to my early existence. The next question, I don't think this is nearly as confusing as the first one. But just your worst day of teaching.
So yeah, this one, I wasn't even teaching yet. I mean, I was a teacher employed in the school, but the day hadn't started yet. And it was March. I wrote it down. It was March 25th, 2011. Does that ring a bell at all? It was a Friday before spring break.
Was it the school shooting?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It was at the middle school. And my room, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the way the school is laid out, but my classroom.
It's a horseshoe shape, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My classroom was way back away from the front office. It was across from the clinic. And so you would come in, walk around the front office and down this long hallway. And at the very end was my room, and the clinic was right across from me. And so this happened in a side entrance. There was only one side entrance there, and it was right next to the cafeteria. And so it was early. It was before the first bell had even rung. Kids were coming in just waiting to get into the building to start the day. And they came over the announcements that we're under lockdown. And so I texted the principal, and I was like, is this a drill? What's going on? Because I didn't know anything was going on. And they didn't text me back.
On like your iPhone 3G, probably. Yeah.
I don't even think I had an iPhone at that point. Oh, I hate the mic.
Motorola.
The Razor.
Yeah.
But they didn't make any more announcements for a while, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. They just said, shut the doors and lock them.
Wow.
And so I was in my room by myself. And
oh, my gosh.
Students weren't in the building yet. And so the students that were out waiting, they just rushed them into the nearest classroom.
Yeah.
And nobody was near my classroom because it was so far back. And that whole time I was just wondering what is going on. And then they announced some things, just some vague things about stuff. They couldn't really tell us much, but eventually word got around that there was a shooting. And it wasn't like the standard school shooting that makes the news, like people just go around the building just firing away.
Rampage, and this was a targeted thing.
Yeah, it was a targeted thing. And I had to look up the date. I couldn't remember the date, but it brought up a bunch of news stories. And one of the headlines was the shooter admitted that he targeted this student. He wanted to take him out. Yeah. And I didn't know that at the time.
Wow.
I just learned that not too long ago.
I didn't even know, because I thought that was like, because I was in kindergarten. I was finishing up kindergarten. Wow, the Friday before spring break. What a time. Yeah. Wow. I always thought it was 2010. That's because I thought I was in kindergarten. But I remember seeing about it on the news because I was at daycare that day. Shout out Kim and Becky. I just thought you'd be like,
this student said this thing. It was just
they traded the vending machine out, and I was like, I forgot. I didn't even think you were. I don't think I had like a reference of time where it's like if you were even in the school district at that point. Yeah. So this was you subbing? This doesn't
no, I was legit at that point. This was maybe a couple years after.
Oh wow! Okay.
I started 2009.
Gotcha.
So 2009, 2010, 2010, 11. Yep.
Great.
That was my second year.
Wow. So I remember Mrs. Smith, no relation, I'm assuming. Nope. Yeah. No. She does that.
No.
Yeah.
No. Finger
yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's patented. She's lovely. I love her. So I remember she told us about that in 8th grade. Cause I've always asked people about where they were for 9/11 or like it's just stuff I know wasn't around for. Matter of fact, I had a table of when I worked at Greeks. There was a time where I was like the best server that day, so they just dropped it on me. They're like,
best server every day.
Well, I'll try. Charismatic and whatnot. paid for my car for a while. A whole horseshoe table of old people from the class of 1962, which made them just at that point 80, which means they were my age when Kennedy got shot.
Okay.
Which is 63, November or something like that, right? Yep. So I was asking. I don't think I asked all of them individually.
November 11th.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's Veterans Day, is it not?
No, wait, that's wrong. That's November 11th.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Anyway, I wasn't around.
We should ask Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Hey.
Anyway, but like
he was a patsy.
Yeah. I just want to hear about history, like what it's like to live through that. And of course, I was safe away from town during the shooting, but I've always been curious to see like what the inner workings of that day was like, because this was what Columbine was in '99, right?
I don't remember. I just remember being in high school when it happened.
Oh wow, it was in Colorado. That's where Columbine was at. Well, because like obviously not to call it trendy is terrible, but just it's a new part of history. It's like they started then, and so it wasn't like a school shooting was brand new, but it wasn't nearly as widespread. I don't want to say popular. It's more like
rampant.
Yeah, didn't happen nearly as often back in 2011, I guess. And so I get the protocol is much different now. There's like Alice training and everything, so which is good.
Which was a result of Columbine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I remember Mrs. Smith was talking about because I think a lot of her story was, she had some stuff she learned about later put into it, but towards her experience. But yeah, it was just, you get locked in. It was, how long did it last? Several hours?
I remember being dismissed early that day, but we didn't have class. We didn't have school, nothing.
Yeah.
It was just waiting around. And then there was a huge line of parents who wanted to come get their kids. And so we had to wait. We couldn't just let the kids go until law enforcement. But parents didn't understand that, which I get.
Mm-hmm. They want their kids safe. They're probably just upset, and the faculty doesn't know how to prepare for that. They're also they're still people too. Yeah, they're wigging out. Of course, they don't know what's going on. They also don't want to get shot at work. They're going to Florida next week. What are you talking about? I got to get a base tan.
There you go.
Yeah,
but it was just odd, and eventually, I don't know how else to describe it other than odd. And at the time, I didn't know what to think. Yeah. Like I was just there doing whatever. I couldn't leave my room. And then eventually the interior lockdown let up. We weren't allowed to go outside, but we could open our doors to just make sure everybody was okay around us. Mm-hmm. And so I remember the cafeteria workers brought the little peanut butter and jelly, the Uncrustables to everybody that day, just delivered them to the classroom.
Soul food there. I eat those when I go on like a lake trip on a boat. They're patented for the experience.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And it was just odd. And we didn't know, the teachers at least didn't know anything about what was going on that day.
Right.
For good reason.
Mm-hmm.
It was all obviously law enforcement investigations and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember walking through the halls and seeing detectives picking up shell casings. And then just looking in rooms to make sure everybody was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just bringing water if anybody needed it.
Yeah, unfortunately, like when those things happen, but like it kind of brings everyone together because you just kind of forget about a bunch of bullshit. So it's like let's all get through this together. It's like a unity. So that's at least a bright side of all that. For sure. And that's kind of what. So if Columbine, you were in high school during, so that means you were just younger than me whenever 9/11 happened. So. That was September 11th. Yeah. So when did you graduate?
That was my freshman year of college.
Oh, freshman year of college. Wow. Yeah. So it was right around my age because I would be a junior in college going in now, but I'm also young for my grade though. Yeah. But
that was a new experience too.
Yeah.
But that was another thing. Like when the shooting happened at the middle school, I was like, this is a drill. This isn't really happening. Yeah. What's going on? And the same thing, which was before the school shooting on 9/11, I left class. I had an 8 o'clock class that day, and I left, and I was going to go get breakfast afterwards. So we had like it was called The Key because I went to Franklin, so it was all
which Franklin is same time zone as New York. So so 8 o'clock had been before, right? Yep.
And by the time I walked in there, the first plane had already hit, and so I walked in to get my little egg sandwich, and they had a TV back in a corner. And it was playing the news, and I looked at it, and I thought that it was just a movie. like seeing all the police and all the smoke.
You're like, wow, big budget. Anyway,
big budget, yeah, look at that.
Egg sandwich time.
Got in my line and got my egg sandwich
Like,
and sat down and just kept watching it. And people came in and were like freaking out about it and were talking about it.
Well, when the first one hit, everyone thought it was like an air traffic control error.
Yeah.
And then the second one was like, oh no, this
Targeted,
is
yeah. And
Which,
so
that's got to be a calculated thing on their end. But yeah, wow, that's because I can imagine you just no one's like, hey, next week it's happening. It was just you could just I bet people woke up that day.
Yeah.
They've just been like, what the hell is going on? I bet I haven't encountered anyone like that. Usually people are just awake at that time.
Yeah.
So far, because it was on a Tuesday or a Monday.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And I wouldn't have been awake if I
Yeah.
hadn't had that class.
Yeah, dude.
Because obviously college is sleeping in.
Right.
But I would not. And then I watched the news in the little diner area, and then I went back to our dorm. We had a community room with a big TV, and a bunch of people just sat in there just watching it for most of the day.
Yeah. Wow.
It
I've
was-
seen
it was
footage
intense.
of because I went to New York last year, so I have more of a reference now just how tight that city is. Very cool, but whenever the debris and the smoke was rushing through the streets, like there's footage of someone filming from behind a counter where they close and lock the doors, and then you just see this like dust bowl where I'm like, if that
I think I've seen that.
it's so because you can't even it just makes it look like it's nighttime all of a sudden, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Then to be caught in that with like that being in your lungs would just be awful.
Yeah.
Wow. Miss DeWitt, Allie DeWitt,
Mhm.
Allie Miller now. I don't want to. I'll probably ask her whenever I ask her to do the podcast as well, but it'll just probably be a while away. But I remember when I first heard about 9/11. I learned about 9/11 through South Park. Unfortunately, when I was like probably way too young to watch South Park, but basically Eric was blaming 9/11 on Kyle, and I was like, what is it? Oh, okay, twin. Anyway, so I had her in 6th grade.
Uh-huh.
I had her at the same time I had Mr. Miller, and she was getting married to Cody Miller that time. So I was like, oh, next year they're gonna think you and Mr. Miller are married, huh? That's not the case at all.
No.
But her experience in 9/11, because I think she was in 7th grade, and she went to Martinsville. Her mom worked at the World Trade Center, and her, Miss DeWitt's teacher ran out of the classroom to call her mom, frantic, and her mom had slept in that morning.
Oh, wow.
And totally missed it.
There's so many stories like
Seth
that.
MacFarlane, for example, he was supposed to be on one of the flights, but wow.
Yeah.
And then I remember one time, Mrs. Smith's class, during the remembrance period, I feel like it got more intense every year because in 8th grade we were listening to voicemails from people who were on the plane where I'm like, I'm 13, let me, internalize this later. But I'm just like, I just don't know what that would be like to accept your fate, just a short amount of time. That's so terrible. But the phone calls were very peaceful. They were just like, it's going to happen. And they were just, calling their loved ones. And I'm like, that's what you gotta have to do. So
no point in freaking out at that point.
All right, let's get a vibe changer.
Let's change that vibe. Speaking of Millers, the Millers, Allie Miller and Scott Miller, I've gotten so many questions about Mrs. Smith. I've even gotten if she was my daughter.
Your daughter?
Students have asked me that, and they were serious when they asked me that. I've gotten mom, I've gotten wife, I've gotten sister.
Mom I could see. Mom was the only thing I would see.
For Christ's sake.
Yeah. You think you're funny, aren't you? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Would you adopt her? Is it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's right.
Good old Ann Smith.
I guess
pop another
cough drop.
By the way.
They're gonna say Xanax.
Xanax. I can't even spell it.
That's one of the words where it's like same way backwards and forwards. Race car.
Palindrome.
That's right. Yeah. Say palindrome backwards, but you can't.
I'm not gonna try.
So I just with the time constraints. This is actually a good thing because then I can have you on and do more of these questions in the future.
Sweet.
But I'm trying to get a better question that would
change the vibe.
Yeah, change the vibe. So
I don't know if any school questions do that because I've already talked about the Mr. Miller stuff.
Yeah. But like, what's a trait of yours that you knew would make you a great teacher? I asked this because I have an answer for this, which served me well for working with middle schoolers. I can take it away while you're looking. Basically, I've always found myself to be more apt to being around older people, and I think it's maybe more patient because of that. Because I wasn't around people my age that often, so I just was more tolerant towards just like the older crowds, how drumline works. I was like
Okay.
the 8th grader, and there's a bunch of, real high schoolers over there, And so as I got older, I realized I compared myself to other people. I just was not as antsy as other people. And obviously high school is a huge range of maturity and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I just still think I just have retained a good amount of patience with every version of my life. And so when I went to the middle school, I was like, this is going to pay off. I'm going to, because a lot of those children were just, trying to get attention.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm a professional class clown. I check out the yearbook, page 142. It's me and Reese.
Literally.
Reese is holding my pregnant belly because we're class clowns. I promise. And like,
Test me.
There's a little small story. Whenever you're a young boy and you discover sex for the first time, and some kid has the great idea, I'm gonna moan in class, and it's gonna be the most funny and original joke ever told.
High schoolers still do it.
It's ridiculous. High school, it's hack and just come on, you can't sit with this anymore. But one of these kids started doing it, and I actively saw them all understand, oh, this is getting attention on me. I'm going to start doing it.
You saw those wheels turning.
So here's how I dealt with it. I wouldn't recommend doing this anytime else, but this is what I did. I was, improvised, adapted, overcame. I forget. These kids are still for sure in school, so I'm going to leave their names out of it. But the kid leading the pack, leading the charge in this, I was like, dude, knock it off. And I'm always trying to smile all the time, so for me to be serious is so silly. Yeah. But I had to be in order to get to establish order.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't listen to me, and so all the kids were doing it, and I was like, all right. And I just have a drum pad in there. I'm just like, we'll just play these exercises, and they wouldn't listen to me. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna make a deal with you. I was like, I'm on Shark Tank. I'm like, 10% whatever. I was like, well, the next time I count off what we're all going to do, I'm going to let every one of you, there was 9 of them. It was me against 9, 10, 11-year-olds.
Was it all boys?
All boys.
Oh, my God.
The other class had one girl in it. And it was like the advanced bands. They were smarter kids. They were just easier to be around.
Yeah.
There was 4 of those, but then like the less academically, strong kids were more of them, and it was just dudes in there. So I mean, a lot of it was fun. I laughed a lot with all those kids, but like when it got to the point where I was like, I got to make a deal with them, I was like, all right, when I count off, and I know how to do that. I've been doing it for a long time. And it's very clear when you start, it's like right there. Right, yeah. I was like, every one of you, I'm gonna let you guys get one moan out. But listen, that's it. One more, and I'll write you guys a pink slip. I asked if I had permission to do that. I'm like, can I send it to the principal's office? Do I have that kind of power? They're like, go right ahead.
So much power.
So I was like, here we go. All right, I'm gonna dangle it over their head. And so I was like, you guys better make this count, because any other moan after that is gonna be penalized.
Yeah.
So when I did it, and I kind of, it was a just wall of sound, but none of them had hit puberty yet, so it just sounded like a bunch of, like a pack of wild, they all just got shocked.
Like the dolphin tank at the zoo.
It's bad. It's so bad. But then they just shut up, and I was like, nah, let's handle that. And then Mr. Belt was in the room. He was like, what was that? And I was like, I acted stupid. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I think a squeaky wheel on one of the janitor carts. Definitely not 9 syncopated young boys' screams. It didn't even sound like moans. It sounded like I stabbed all of them at the same time. Yeah. So 6th grade, that's my thing. I have patience, and I handled that with as much patience as I could.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's a good thing to have.
And when I was drum captain, I'd have to handle stuff like that. I'm just like, I'd like to be at Walmart just making money as opposed to doing this. But you just got to swallow it, just sit there. The thing I remind myself is that time moves on no matter what. It's going to pass. Whatever this podcast will eventually end, and we're going to be upset. But we're going to have another one for sure.
Yeah.
But before I got into teaching, I was just like, I got to remind myself it's going to be hard. And it was. And so that's my answer, is my patience. That's a trait that I thought would help me be a good teacher.
That's a good trait. Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's organizational skills.
That's for sure true.
I like to be organized. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm not, but then I get things done and I realize that I kind of am. But I just like having a plan in education, and this is another question that you asked, advice to future teachers or anything, just expect the unexpected, which is cliche, but things change all the time in school. There are all kinds of interruptions. There are all kinds of schedule changes.
Boomer's coming. Bring your pacer gear. It's like, God.
I was never around for Boomer, but
he came to Perry.
I heard about it all the time.
Hashtag second place.
I lost my train of thought. That's okay, because it was probably boring.
But expecting expected cliche.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Interruptions.
Interruptions. But I like to have a plan, even though I know that plan's not going to happen. But I like to be able to have something sort of set in stone, so I know that when that unexpected thing happens, I can roll with it. Yeah. And then just get back to.
That's good. And I imagine what I would probably do, I'd probably over plan, and then then you learn the lesson like, you can't do that, because then stuff goes a different way. So you have to kind of thread the needle of like, we want structure, but we need to be broad enough to rearrange stuff. Like, for example, what came to my brain from your class is that when we'd have people present their speeches, we have a time frame, but like I just said, I went over a lot of the time. So maybe you might have 6 people on the schedule that day, but you only fit 5. So now you have to, that might delay stuff, and so you have to make room for that, I imagine. So I'm sure there's other things you've done in the past where it's like, well, I guess we're going to skip that chapter.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the time.
A little bit of Jojo Rabbit page jumping. That was really fun.
That was a good time.
That's a great movie.
Script and movie. It's a good stuff.
Did you watch the Oscars this year?
Yep.
I watched a few of the segments. I know recently I watched The Brutalist in theaters. Okay. Brutal.
Literally.
Yes. They have a built-in intermission.
Do they really?
Yeah. It's 15 minutes.
Oh, man. Luke, I'm old enough that we had intermissions during the movies.
Well, like the Titanic have intermission?
Every movie had an intermission.
Really?
Yep. It would always come on. The little dancing concession stand characters would come on.
That's
the intermission.
Wow.
We used to have a theater here in am I allowed to say where we are?
Yeah, for sure. Oh. We're in the Martinsville, Morgan County Library. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what that theater is now? It's a tractor store.
A tractor store.
You buy tractors there.
Why wouldn't it be?
Ain't that just as equally entertaining? Let's go watch a movie and then go bowling after. While we're at it, maybe I buy a John Deere. That's awesome. Go. Yeah. We're surrounded by places with stuff like that, so we got monopolized. Whatever.
That's true.
Also, it wasn't I saw a few movies in that theater, but you said I'm old enough to say there's intermissions. I'm going to be old enough to say I used to go to the theater to watch movies. That's eventually going to stop just because of streaming.
I think so.
Which is very sad. Yeah. And I think there'll be more like grand showings where it'll be like, because you don't want to rob people of that experience. But have you seen in movies where I've heard people on podcasts talk about it where they will dumb down a movie to make sure it's fit for secondary screens where you can know what's going on without watching it.
For sure.
Which takes away so much joy out of watching anything. Yep. So when I want to watch something, I turn everything off. I watched Fargo for the first time the other day. Turns out I really like the Coen brothers quite a lot. Yeah. Very good stuff.
They're now branching out.
Yeah, splitting up a little bit. But there's the three big that I know where they're still together was Fargo, Lebowski, and No Country.
No Country is one of my faves.
Hank and I talked about that in the last episode where we watched a scene from that where there's a Brant from the Goonies. What's his actual name? Josh Brolin. It's like he's my tires. He's like has like a scope on like he's like trying to snipe something, and there's a
That's
dog.
The opening scene.
Yeah, and like the dog pops into frame, and you think it's gonna be a dog, and Hank was aghast. Yeah. I wrote down on like the note structure for the podcast. I wrote dog. He was like, "Why is dog there?" I was like, "Because you always reacted crazy whenever dogs popped on the screen. It'd either be a "Aww" or it would be like a "No." And that was one of the things. No Country's a great movie. It was free on YouTube with ads. Okay. Like a year and a half ago, and I watched all it for the first time. And Javier Bardem was I heard was the most accurate psychopath in cinema ever.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Good Lord. It is. And like the bone at the end. Stuff. It's just tough stuff. I was 2 when that movie came out. Believe that? 07.
You youngster.
Yeah, man.
Didn't we watch the opening scene in that?
We did.
We watched the other one, a coin flip scene too, didn't we?
Yes. We did,
In
or
the-
because
the
I
gas
thought
station.
I thought I watched that in your class, or I watched like some like YouTuber talk about it, because I think I sent you I've seen a lot of those videos on my feed where it's like the scene at the bottom in the basement during Inglourious Bastards, where it's like the most like suspenseful thing he's ever written, where it's like the three.
Oh yeah.
That's
the one you sent to me.
yeah, that's a really good video. But I thought I heard the coin flip scene through that, but I forget what like we studied the coin flip scene for. It's a great scene just because like it's just creepy as hell.
I can't remember.
Maybe like the 180-degree rule, maybe.
That could have been.
Maybe. I feel it's kind of morbid to use that for that, but
well, nothing. You don't see anything in that scene.
No, you
it's
don't.
It's just long and I hit it again.
It's all right.
It's I don't know why I keep.
It makes it more real. It makes it because without a camera, they get to picture the room we're in.
That's right. We get to describe it, which is like a fish tank, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's a great analogy. Yeah, it's a lot of windows, but
yeah.
I got the door cracked, which is nice because otherwise it would have been very stuffy in here. And then there's just these random rooms in the library.
And these are the skinniest tables I've ever seen.
I know. Yeah, we're using 2 tables right now.
It's almost like a bench.
I know. And down the road, I'd like to get like a actual like a situated place where I have like lights and a camera and action. That's so stupid. I'm sorry. I'm gonna edit that out. Right? No, I won't.
I love it.
But yeah, we went from the questions to No Country to that. I forget.
No Country was the movie that made me realize or made me like see cinematography for the first time.
Oh yeah,
I think it won best cinematography that year.
Good. Another movie that I love that won best cinematography was came out 2014. Birdman.
Okay.
Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, Zach Galifianakis is in it.
Yeah.
Emma Stone. But that's like I think it was the movie like 1917 does the same thing where it's like it was a bunch of strung together shots. There's a lot of like clever editing techniques where there's like
looks
black
like
screens.
one long shot.
And I love that.
Yep.
Ree showed it to me with like my junior year of high school, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This is awesome. And most of the soundtrack is just drums, so it just felt like a movie tailored to Luke Franklin.
Yeah,
it was great.
There you go.
And I knew most of the cast too. So I'm a big Edward Norton guy.
There is and I don't know the name of it, but there's a British film that is actually one long take.
Oh, really?
And they go throughout London. It's not just in one location, but they actually
like
get in cars. They drive, and it's still just the camera still going, and everybody had to be ready and set when they went in buildings and things like this.
What year just came out? Because with film, that'd be probably hard to do with like actual with actual reels.
Either late 90s or early 2000s.
Okay.
But they talked about it a couple times on that podcast, Films to Be Buried With, and I can't remember the name of it. I put it on a list to watch, which that list is obscenely long at this point. And never going to get to it.
But I mean, it's having that list gives us a glimpse into the future that could be. There's a bunch of movies I haven't seen. Yeah. I bet those movies get pissed off, and I'm just like, "Oop, a new 2025 one came in." They're like, "What the hell, dude?
What about me?
This came out. I came out in '84. I still haven't seen Schindler's List. It scoffs at me every day."
You should. That's a good one.
That's a great one. I've heard. Yeah. Isn't it in black and white? I just learned that. Which
apart from the color red, it plays a role.
See,
I'm not going to spoil it.
Cool.
For you.
All right, great. That's awesome. And actually, that might be the way I watch it now because of this episode. Wow.
It's long. You need to be prepared for it because it's long and it's very dark.
Right. I know it's Holocaust. So, I mean, I sat through all Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So, I mean,
I've never seen the movie, but I know the story.
Yeah, Shmuel.
I don't know.
The character.
It's a dark.
Shmuel has my haircut.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
And I bet he's in pajamas that are striped.
Well, he's in Holocaust gear.
We'll call him PJs. Let's stick to PJs.
I shouldn't call it gear.
Holocaust gear swag.
That's like when you wear wear my 49ers gear.
Would you call it prison gear? Like the jumpsuit?
Yeah.
Like the orange? Do they even wear it, or is that like a movie thing? I've never been in prison, so I don't know.
Me either.
Yet.
I mean, there's a few reality shows where like there's like they just film guys in prison, or just like the movie or the show where you take kids scout beyond scared straight.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're usually wearing I don't think they wear. I think the part that we get confused with like within like fiction is that they're not wearing like Foot Locker stuff like stripes. it is it is orange jumpsuits. That makes more sense to me. It's how orange is the new black.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It would be cool if they could be just like Shawshank, just denim and everything.
Denim.
Yeah.
But the stripes, that's like an old Batman, like the 60s Batman series. The villains always wore the stripes.
That's fantastic. Bank robbers were, they're ready. They just walk into jail. They're like, dude, I was ready for it.
I was ready.
It took my eye mask, but I'll get that back in about 6 months. Here, okay, we don't have to wrap up yet or anything, but it's another good question that's not really Holocaust related.
Or 9/11 or school shootings.
Yeah, we talked a lot of stuff. I just looked at it. Oh yeah, what were some of your favorite teachers growing up?
Okay.
Some that stuck out. I'm sure that probably might have been fun to reminisce, or it's like, oh, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but the first one that came to mind was, you might know Eric Meyer, because he was the TV production teacher at the high school.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
His first year teaching was my junior year of high school, but I had worked with him before that because our newspaper had a TV station, and so he was in charge of it, and they still did all the games, and they did like a newscast and things like that. Yeah. And so I came in and was just a camera guy for him.
Nice. And
so I got to know him before that, and he was really cool. I learned a lot from him, and that was probably my freshman or sophomore year of high school. And then the newspaper sold the TV station, and the school bought the equipment, and so they just hired him on as a teacher so they could add that to the vocational section.
And Rewind stuff has gotten way cooler since then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. I would have loved to have been in all that, but I was always in band stuff. So we talked about that. I sat in this exact chair and talked about that with Hank last week, which you can listen to the episode right now. Another thing. The episode, I think you're episode 17, I think, but the 2 episodes ago with my grandmother, then it was Hank Fields, and then it was Matt Smith. Ain't that just
that's a roller coaster?
I know. I want to make sure that my audience of 4 people have they don't know what to expect. A whole variety of people, family, friends, old peers, whatever,
Yeah.
Well, thanks to him, actually, that was the first time I ever did a podcast, was back in the Rewind stuff. Serenity Fry, she put like a Google form through Rewind. It was like, who would you like to see on my podcast? And people put my name, and I was like, really?
There you go.
I was
Class Clown.
So flattered. I know.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on Class Clown. That felt like I won an Oscar. My mom's always like, honey, you got to stop. Like, it's not a huge accomplishment. I was like, you don't understand. Going into high school, I thought I was going to go to college. And then halfway through, I was like, no. I'm going to do drums. With an M. And then I made sure. Thank you. I made sure I kept my grades up. But as long as I had my grades up, I was just goofing around in class. And I did that enough where I got the accolades for it.
I feel like if you can balance good grades with being entertaining, I think that's just top tier anyway. Because so many people try to be entertaining but are just failing classes left and right. So we get to see them every other year.
Yeah, and I didn't do the best on the essays or anything, but I had passing grades, and I did. I liked writing essays for your class a lot, but I mean in U.S. history, I was like, I can't talk about Kevin Spacey in this one. He wasn't even born yet. The Vikings, who cares? I got a lot of people would come in there with like written out notes because as the year got longer, the essays would get progressively harder. Where at the end of the year it was like, we're gonna get a prompt. We're gonna choose 3 prompts, and you have to study. We're gonna get the option of 2 of them, so you have to study all 3 of them. But one of them, you might study one and it won't be on there, so you have to write a prompt off that. And I would just go in there and wing it every time. I've
heard about those prompts. They sound scary, and I'm glad I don't have to do them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's how I talk about this all the time with people who a lot of people, my friends, are all in college, and right now it's not a thing. But they'll be like, "Yeah, I got to go home and do homework," and I was like, "Haven't seen her in a long time, man."
Homework.
I love it. We did those jokes in your class too much.
I still do.
No, they're
I'm not gonna stop.
They're timeless. They so
are
funny.
Timeless.
Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Meyer.
Carl Wagner's on my list.
Oh, great.
for sure. He was my senior English teacher.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
Had
because
him for a trimester.
he did track too, and he's
Mhm.
doing one of the coach slash.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which I knew him first as a coach because I ran track my freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
and then stopped because I was not very good at it.
Well, I was told but just the way my frame is built and that my metabolism is still pretty good. I don't have to run that often, but it's something I try to do every now and then just to be like, because I used to dread it.
Yeah.
The first time I ever got pit stains was Mr. Contreras. You probably had him.
Oh my god! I never had him, but I talked with him for a
Oh
little
wow.
bit.
Well, my dad had him. So and
Yeah.
my dad was born in the '60s.
We called him the time machine.
Yeah, no kidding.
and he never aged.
No, he's got Paul Rudd syndrome. He was 44 forever. The first time I got pit stains was we ran the mile in his class, and I didn't get a student email about that. I woke up that morning and I was like, gonna go to school, do some jumping jacks, maybe play some kickball. He's like, we're gonna go. This is at Bell. We're gonna go to the high school, which is just next door. We're gonna use that track. And I was like, this is cool. This is not grass. I don't know do they have blue grass? I guess that's where Kentucky got that from. So we're out, we go to the track, and he's like, yeah, run 4 laps. I'm going to time you. I ran a 9-minute, 16-second mile, which I was told was bad. But
I was going to say, that sounds good to me.
Well, I mean, for an 11-year-old.
Probably why I stopped doing
yeah.
track.
I ran it last time I tried really hard to run a mile. I ran 7:39. Which I know is better than 9 minutes.
9.
Yeah, it's a lot of minutes in between.
I'm not good at math, but I know that it is better than 9.
Yeah. Yeah, the treadmills at the gym I used to go to used to malfunction. Where it was, you want to make sure a treadmill will glide, go at the same speed the whole time, not like catch its breath. It would be like and it would just stop like a receipt machine. And I almost broke my legs on it, going 10 miles an hour trying to beat my brother, who's made of just pure muscle. And I got a little, I look a little chubby compared to him sometimes, and I'm just like, and the thing would just stop on me. So that's the last time I ran a mile. But
I don't want to bring harm to you, but you should have broken your legs. Then you could have owned that gym forever.
That's true. I have broken a leg before, and trust me, not worth it.
No,
not worth it. I have a funny little scar to show off, but it is not a scar I'm proud of. Do you know that story?
I don't think so.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Now
Matt,
I will.
strap in. I've told it a bunch of times, so I have it all worked out.
All right.
This was speaking of spring break. This was the Monday of my spring break. This was sandwiched between drumline prelims and drumline state finals. My sophomore year of high school. It was during COVID, so finals were a little different. But it was still a big deal, and I was supposed to be there. I was running from my room to the kitchen, and we had just got new tile. And I had also just got a new Letterman jacket back with my patches on it, because they let band kids have those now. Yeah. Welcome to the 21st century.
Sure.
And I had these white socks on, and I was like, I'm going to go show my mom my big, cool varsity jacket, but she's over there. How am I going to get there? I need to get there quickly. I'm going to run real fast, and I'm going to slide on there like Tom Cruise in Risky Business. I did that. And when I left from my room, I had full intention of turning and surprising, be like, check this out, and be swag. But as I turned, I had 3 of my limbs in the air. My left leg was the only one planted, and as I shifted my weight, my knee just buckled to the side. Not in line with a joint at all. It took a full fork in the road D-turn.
Oh my God.
And so then my natural response was to go up in the air. So for a little bit, I was in the air, just suspended, and then I landed flat in the kitchen. We have a pretty narrow kitchen. I landed the correct way in there. Hit my head first of all, but then I went to go kind of raise I hit my legs too on the desk. I went to go raise my knees up to my chest, and I only got my right leg up, and I couldn't move my left. I was like, oh no. But the pop I heard went through my whole body. It took it's time slowed down for a second. Felt like a movie. Another callback.
There you go.
Long story short, that happened. And I watched a Nicolas Cage movie to make myself feel better. Matchstick Men, Sam Rockwell. I've not seen it since. I haven't seen it. It's been a long time. I forget what even happens there. but Nicolas Cage could not fix my knee, so we had to go to the ER.
Of all people to try, though,
you know who did a worse job than Nick Cage? The Martinsville Hospital. they took some X-rays and they were like,
"You're fine.
They're like,
walk it off."
They're like, "We don't know what's wrong with it. You should go to Bloomington. They know what they're doing over there." You mean the other IU Health? You guys know? You guys have a sign out there that says hospital? What the hell are you guys running here? But yeah, they charge us for the X-rays, and I just I had to get crutches from my mama's house. So I'm on crutches for a while. I then get X-rays there, and they find out that it's pretty screwed up. I need surgery, so I get surgery on April Fool's Day that year.
What a day!
Oh yeah. And so, yeah, I forgot the part about drumline. See, I still went to drumline that Saturday for finals. I had to miss some rehearsals, so they had me in a wheelchair instead. I can't march drums that way, so they had the show was called Roll With It, and so they were like, we're gonna incorporate this young man's mishap. And by the way, Mr. Todd Clevenger, not that he couldn't be a friend of the show, he just he would be. But Todd Clevenger, friend of the show, one of the drumline techs, he was like, the Friday before spring break happened, he was like, do not get hurt. We have finals on Saturday. And I'm a very cautious boy at the time. And I was like, you got it, Todd. I'll see you Thursday, 9 a.m. And then, so I still did the show. I wonder real quick. I wonder if I can play. Well, I probably can't.
Did you get like wheelchair boy sympathy points?
Well, I became actually the picture of me they posted on. So the company, the association that runs the drumline stuff in Indiana is called IPA, not the alcohol. Yeah. Indiana Percussion Association. And they were, whenever they started the next season, my junior year, they were counting down the days till the beginning of the season. And there's a picture of me on the phone and in the wheelchair during the show, because the idea was that we had like an overdub thing that my friend Trent and I recorded, where it's like, hey man, I broke my leg trying to recreate the scene from Risky Business. Can't make it to finals. And he was like, I guess we're just gonna have to roll with it. That's what we did because of my issue.
Nice.
So they worked into the show, which was nice.
Love it.
But then there's a picture of me just like trying to mimic being on the phone, and I'm holding up just one finger, that Mrs. Smith no finger. And they took that picture, which professionally made cameras and stuff, and they used that as the one more day left, and I was like, hey, that's me. And so then I talked to a few of my drum techs who were like in on the drumline stuff, and they were like, yeah, people know who you are just because, like, oh, the wheelchair kid from Martinsville. And I was like, my name is Luke, but that's cool, I guess.
You've got a shtick.
Yeah. So that's how I broke my leg. How did I get on
the wheelchair boy?
Yeah, wheelchair Willie from Bradford Woods. I've heard about the old legend.
The old legend.
Yeah. My name's not Willie, but
no, it could be.
Yeah, I could get a name change. Middle name's Andrew. What are we gonna do with that pun wise? Wheelchair.
Waff.
Yeah. All right.
Or it could be Luke Andrew Willie, and then Law could be.
Ooh, that's a whole
Laugh is better for
criminal investigation subplot story.
Dun dun.
I love the Ted movies. Then Ted 2, Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane playing Ted sing the song, like the OG Law and Order theme, but they put their own lyrics to it. And when I was like 10, I think that movie came. I was probably 9 or 10 when it came out, and I got it on Redbox.
Ooh,
that's going to be an old sentence pretty soon, because they're gone. They're gone. Then there's no one at Kroger anymore. Yep. But I rewatched that scene 800 times so I can get it all down. I can do it now. I'm not going to. How did I forget about this? Speaking of movie quotes,
okay.
Do you remember there's a pretty good highlight moment from my senior year that involves you in the speech class, probably first trimester. But there's a few times, it was like a week where we went into the field house to work on our vocal stuff, which I'm like, that's really cool. And we did the poem / excerpt kind of a review thing, but it was like a peer review. And I forget if we probably did it on everybody. I think everyone shared someone to peer review, but this time everyone gave feedback. I think is how it worked. And I remember being very honest about all those things, and I hope everyone else was as well. But I recited Ezekiel 25:17 from Pulp Fiction. And I'm the only one who went up there without a joke book. But I made I like made eye contact with everybody. I like wanted to perform it, and I was practicing an arty hour a couple days before, like timing on my phone.
Yeah.
I was trying to take long pauses, but I was like 7 seconds shy of a minute. But if I had reached a minute, which was the minimum requirement of the speech, I would have gotten a complete 5s across the board, because there's a bunch of criteria. It was like presentation, enunciation, all that stuff, right? Vocalization, and just like performance overall. And because I love that movie so much, and I know that so well.
Pulp Fiction, by the way.
Yeah, did I not say it? Yeah, Pulp Fiction. Yeah, yeah. Is equal 25. It's, you can hear Samuel L. Jackson. They say it 3 times in the movie. They say it in the first half, or in the opening credits. Then they do it again in the flashback where that Jerry Seinfeld looking guy comes in. Yeah. And then he does it again at the diner. So I've seen the movie a plethora of times. Yeah. And so I did that, and got, not exactly a standing ovation, but a good grade. I think about that in the shower.
And you had a shirt. Don't you have a shirt that says it?
I do, yeah.
Did you wear it that day?
I must have. I used to wear that to Greeks, because I was like, maybe I get some cinephiles. Yeah. But then everyone was just churchgoers. Was like, I love your shirt.
I love it. Bless you, son.
I was like, do you like when Bruce Willis stabs people with swords, or when Ving Rhames shoots a man's penis off in the basement of a department store?
Which chapter was that in?
Yeah, that was in the second one. That's the Golden Watch story. Yeah. Anyway, good so stuff. That's fun. I
remember that.
I might make a bit out about that, where it's I wore a Pulp Fiction shirt, and then people are just like,
peace be with you, child.
And with your spirits. But that's Catholicism, whatever. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm also in the Bible club. It's like, well, I like feet. Sorry, a little Tarantino dig. All right, well,
which could also be a Bible thing because of the whole foot washing. Business, which I don't really know.
Wait, so would you
much about?
Technically, how would you wash your feet? Would you wash your feet how you wash your hands, or you just like use your feet to do it, or you like rub your hands, but like with your
See, now you put a mental image into my head.
Well, we have two options. You use your main source of
like
of
a
hands.
chimp,
with
their feet, just some soap.
I know
some Bath and Body Works scented soap on your feet.
There's a guy I do comedy with named Jack Layden. He was on the last show. I hosted a show at Greeks.
That's a good comedy name.
Yeah, I know, right? Jack Layden. He went to school for anthropology. He has a lot of bits about monkeys. And anytime I think about a monkey, I picture his face. And he's one of the few people who are taller than me, and like apparently taller than me.
Okay.
And so he's like, a lot of my memories are just him like right here, like right above my eye line. Him just talking about all these gorillas I can't pronounce. Shout out Jack Layden. I should have him on the podcast. He'd probably do it.
What's up, Jack?
What's up, Jack? Let's see. Well, we have this room till 7:30. Do you need to be anywhere?
I do not.
Great.
What?
So
I don't even know what time it is.
It's 7:08 p.m.
Okay.
It's been an hour and 31 minutes.
This has flown by.
I know. I knew it would too. Let's see. So,
I do want to say before we go,
please.
Before we into anything, I do want to go back to the movie thing.
Yeah.
Because I learned this last summer.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring it up here because I think it's important. But here in our little town, our little podunk town of Martinsville, shout out, the Ville, whatever. We have some film history here. Number one, back in the 90s, there was an action film series called Best of the Best. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not. I know the Men in Black quote was the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't know if it's related to that.
No, it's not. But Best of the Best is a TV show?
No, it's like a film franchise.
Oh, really?
Just I think Steven Seagal is in some of it.
Oh, wow.
But
Ponytail Wailing Man.
Yeah, I want to say Best of the Best 3. And I'm sure it had a subtitle with that. I don't remember it, but I've never seen any of these movies. But I was in maybe middle school. They shot a scene for that movie at our fair.
Oh.
During the fair, like they brought in, and there was a whole big action fight, all kinds of stuff. And
derby cars and stuff.
No, it was in the like the carnival, like kids riding on rides.
Really?
While these grown adult men were fighting each other.
Wow.
Yep. But yeah, you can see our fair in that movie. I think it's Best of the Best 3. It was a sequel at some point. So there's that in the 90s. I still have never seen it. But if we go back even further to the 30s.
The 30s?
The 30s, the silent film era, or the transition from silent film to talkies.
That's right.
The guy, and I need to look at. I wrote his name down because I can't remember things. But
That's why you write it down.
he voiced in a little Disney movie called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Disney's first feature film.
1937 came out.
Sounds about right.
I think so.
Their first feature animated film.
Uh-huh.
He voiced Happy. His name was Otis Harlan, and he was from the East Coast and obviously went out to the West Coast. But then he ended up here, and he lived out the rest of his life here, and he's buried in the cemetery over by Poston Road.
I drive by that quite frequently.
And he had a daughter who was in silent films, who was also buried out there. She was in Buster Keaton movies. She was kind of a background actress, but she was in there.
Wow.
And he also had a nephew who was in silent films, but he didn't make his way to Martinsville. But this guy, Otis Harlan,
buried there.
somehow found his way there. But Otis Harlan and his daughter, Marion Harlan, who married, I don't know if you're familiar with the Kennedy Living Center here in town. It's over by the Depot Theater, that building over there. Okay. It used to be another word that I forgot, but people used to come there and stay and like get healthy.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but
cool.
The Kennedy name it's not associated with the politicians Kennedys. It's a different family.
Yeah, that's immediately what I went to in my brain, but I understand.
But the daughter, Marion Harlan, married one of the Kennedys, and that's how they all ended up here in Martinsville. Okay. So yeah, some film history tied to our little town.
That is. Yeah, and some old stuff too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
There's a guy who came into Greeks once. He was a door dasher, and he told me he can get me into the movies.
Like a performer in the movies, or like he could take you into a movie theater?
He's talking about giving me lines in a feature-length film. This is more my era, to 2010s, where I was growing up watching Disney Channel a lot. Sure. There's a guy in this show called I Didn't Do It. And I remember this show pretty well. The most famous actress from that show is probably, her name was Olivia Holt. Okay. But apparently the guy who, one of the co-stars, I forget his name, but he went to Martinsville, and I think Rick Armstrong probably knows who he is because he was always around theater and everything. Mm-hmm. But I talked to this guy, Greeks, and he said that guy came back from the Disney Channel guy, came back to film a movie called The Rose Wagon.
Okay.
Or something like that, right?
Yep.
And they used the candy kitchen in one of the scenes.
Yeah, they shot it all over the place.
Yeah, and he was showing me the trailer for it. And then this was right after I'd graduated from high school. This is like right after I'd been from your class. And all of the shots seemed so congested. Mm-hmm. Like they're just too close, personal, like all the way up here. Like imagine the movie. Ooh. Yeah. You can't back away.
We just became NPR.
That's right. Welcome. Good morning. 7 p.m. Yeah, so basically it's the visual version of that where it's a lot of, and I was like, can I be funny in it?
Because I'm gonna.
Yeah, cause no matter what, I'll be but physical comedy for sure. Oh, I dropped my hat,
So is he getting you in that movie, The Rose Wagon, or is it a different one?
I have not seen him since. He was like, he just kept saying, I think he was talking about, I think he used The Rose Wagon as an example of like, here's a movie that was here. There are ones. And I think there was some like Christmas. Was that a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it kind of Hallmarkish?
They were. I'd never seen it, but I heard about it, and they were trying to market it to Hallmark. I don't think it was gonna be. I think they were just gonna try to sell it.
I wonder how many movies you know about. I wonder what that number is compared to how many movies you've seen. You've seen a lot of movies. Know that to be fact. Yeah. I know you've heard a lot about it. You're like, never seen it.
Never seen it. I've never seen.
Never seen it.
I like the history, the theory stuff more than actually watching the movies. Yeah.
Because you can just find your little club of movies, and you just apply all the stuff you learned
and
to
just
those.
Rewatch them over and over.
Yeah. Speaking of, have you seen Chinatown with
Jack
Nicholson? Okay, because I've heard that's one of the episodes I've not watched from the podcast I talked about earlier with that Ron Hirschberg guy. Okay. Your favorite movie sucks. A comedian named Sam Morrill brought that movie with him because all the guests bring their movies to him, of course. That's cool. And I heard that Chinatown is like, we talk about scripts again. It's a very well written script where it's just like pacing's excellent and like
it may have won the Oscar.
I would hope so, but I know the Oscars have changed a lot, so I'm sure they've always had screenwriting awards for it. But I just want to know if that's a movie I should look into.
Yep,
For sure.
Writing wise and also genre, because it's a really good example of a film noir,
Okay.
like a modernized film noir.
Which there's a lot. I see. There's a lot of movies from the black and white era that I learned about from like because you would have like these like I guess you call them bell ringers. We would look at movies and everything. We'd learn about throughout the week. There's a bunch of movies I remember hearing about that I never watched. And after watching like Hitchcock stuff, where I'm like, I know not every movie back then is gonna be Hitchcock-esque. That's like kind of like he's one of the guys that's made it out from then because it's been so long. But there's a lot of movies that I know that I'd probably enjoy just because it's old. And like when I watched 12 Angry Men, I forget what year that came out. It might have been the late 50s or early 60s because I want
to say late 50s.
The only actor I recognize from 12 Angry Men he's in Psycho. He's the I forget his name.
The investigator.
Yeah. Arbogast. Yeah, I almost said Abagnale, but that's
in Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that.
But if you ask me about Jimmy Stewart, I can't remember his goddamn name.
Yeah, but you got it up pretty quick. We're good. Mr. IMDb. You know how often I say IMBD on accident?
A lot?
I said, I said it on stage the other day, and I said it so slowly.
Did somebody heckle?
No, I did. I just said it slowly because I knew my brain wanted to say BD.
Oh, okay.
But that's because it's followed with BDSM, which is not the correct acronym.
No, those are different movies.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil any of my bits, but anyone who got this far to the podcast can listen to it, and you've been here the whole time. But I'm currently working on a bit about Willy Wonka.
Okay.
Because I rewatched it as an adult.
Which one?
The first one, Gene Wilder.
Okay.
It's wilder than you remember.
The better one.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah, because I've seen the Timothée Chalamet one too. That's not even.
Seen it.
It's that's a list. The Johnny Depp one is fine. It just doesn't need to exist, but it's just Tim Burton just has money, I guess. It's like, let's do it. Let's give Johnny Depp real teeth. Like a nice, really nice, good teeth.
I think he just wanted to get Christopher Lee in one last movie.
Oh, maybe so.
He played his dad, the dentist dad.
Yeah. But the original Willy Wonka, there's how many Oompa Loompas do you think were in the movie?
The original?
Yeah.
I want to say like maybe 10, but there were probably hundreds.
See, I'm the opposite. I thought there were like 1,100 Oompa Loompas. If they're fully staffed, 13 Oompa Loompas, and that's like the biggest wide frame. I had to like stop it and everything. So there's a lot of tags. I've tried to illustrate the absurdity of 13.
Yeah.
Being when it makes it feel like it's a whole graduation class full. But that just I wanted to run that by people just to get a survey to see how to approach the joke and stuff.
And there was only one in the Johnny Depp version.
Yeah. And then there's but he's made to be out even more than 13 because it's just copy and paste.
Yep.
The one Hugh Grant just plays just a small boy. They could have hired a little person to play that role. They're just like let's just shrink Hugh Grant in post.
Yeah.
We'll just use him
bigger.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Why? Yeah. Why? You could have called Peter Dinklage. He would have for sure said yes.
Yeah. He was probably mad at the time, though, because he was upset about the remake of Snow White at that point.
Oh.
Because they weren't going to use, there was some kind of controversy with the dwarfs at that point, and he was involved in it.
I see.
I don't remember the details of that.
But then again, I mean, gathering 13 little people back then must have been a task. I'm sure. I'm like one of the tags in there is that like Warner Bros. Just wrote 6.5 checks to those boys and just like sent them on their merry way.
6.5.
Yeah,
because they were half size.
That's right. It's a smart joke, and not many people get it yet. I've only done it twice, but it's.
I just want to be a laugher in your audience.
Please. Well, then I always plug stuff I have coming up towards the end of the show, and we're wrapping up the last 10 minutes or so of the show. I'll say that towards the very end, but
I was crunching.
Yeah.
Could you hear it?
No, the mic didn't pick up at all. How courteous.
Sorry.
Usually people are always like, they're like, we did the NPR bit, but we did that way later into the show than usually. I interviewed one of my old bandmates from Muncie back in like probably February or something like that. And
was this the one about the book?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah, that was me and Nate. Yeah, it was about punk rock guys and how they just pee on stuff.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I'm happy that's the first time people have been like, they've cited that episode before. That's very nice.
My favorite one was the story with the one. Oh, I stuttered. The one with your mom and the Thanksgiving story.
Oh yeah, God, dude. Cracker Barrel. I haven't listened to the episode in a while. Well, since I did it, of course. But like, I need to, because that just, what I turned the podcast into in my brain, I was like, I'm gonna do this just because it's fun. And if anything, these episodes are gonna be time capsules. So like, I can show my kids later. I'm like, this is your grandma and me when I was a young man, talking about your great grandma who made some questionable holiday decisions. Did I leave the part out where we went to go like look for graves after? That's how she wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving. She was like, let's go to Cracker Barrel, wait 9 hours to go get some bullshit food that we're not even going to enjoy, some water that they got out of the faucet that is warm, not even cold, and then we're going to go sightseeing. But the sight's going to be graves for people I never even met.
I don't remember that part.
You know, that day hurt so bad. I went home and started the podcast.
That was it.
That's where, I went home and I was like, I need to pick me up, man. So I made myself a Mama's Garage podcast email. I started designing everything. It was nice to have a project in sight. Yeah. And I started doing a bunch of research. I was like, I need to get a computer. I can't just do a podcast from my phone. That's where I got all this equipment from. I could have, but this is much more fun, and it was affordable. I bought it on Black Friday and everything, so it was all
good thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's all Sweetwater stuff. They were just like, "Yep, yeah, we got you. We make a little bundle."
Did your computer come from there too?
I realized I could have later, but I just bought this from Best Buy because the computer was something I thought about for so long, because it's such an adult purchase to have a MacBook that's been in my brain for so long, that I was like, I want to go there and leave with it the same day. I want to pick it out, and I was like, I want to leave with it and go home and figure it all out. At work, I use Windows, and at home, I use iOS. And I'm not fluent in both, but I know, because like the closing windows in the different corners.
Oh yeah.
And so it must be the mouse pad difference compared to the actual mouse itself. But why are we talking about this? No one gives a shit about my MacBook.
Everybody does.
I hope so. Well, there's a few questions we didn't get to, but this is good because now the people when I interview, if you actually, I'm gonna reward people who listen this far. Next podcast is gonna be Dave and Shannon, Knuckles and
Adams.
That's right. I cannot believe I forgot it. I'm like, Knuckles and it's not Knuckles. That's like,
Knuckles and not Knuckles.
Yeah, that's gonna be very fun. It's gonna be on the 4th of July bash. This episode probably won't come out until I think July 17th. I think so, because I'm kind of ahead of schedule.
Wait, is this episode 17 coming out on the 17th?
It may be. Yes, it is, because Hanks was 16.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And this is the first episode that I will be 20 when it's released. Okay. But I will not be. I'm not 20 right now. But
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Far from it.
You double
but
20.
Still act like it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good thing where it's like you don't want to just be jaded by the.
Well, I mean, I'm jaded for sure.
But yeah, but you're jaded also being a little bit, like a 20 something in your brain. That's fine. I think it's totally fine. You got to have a healthy mixture. It's like keeping your good grades up. Make sure, and being entertaining.
There you go.
Yeah. Grades. I guess the grades would be the analogy doesn't always work, but it was a callback, and people who are listening this far know about it.
There you
go. The standard podcast length is about an hour, but I find that to be kind of, I don't know. Usually it shows that have the same host on it every single episode. I'm like, I get it. They're just trying to promote stuff and everything. I've not promoted one thing yet, and we're already an hour.
You promoted Dave and Shannon.
I did, yeah.
And a couple of your bits.
Yeah, for a few of my bits, yeah.
So you got some plugs in there.
Yeah, for sure. But then I always save the end for the real plugs. There's some cool news. So of course I still play the drums. That's the first thing I want to work on, right? Comedy's more of a side thing, but it's cool because I can do it by myself, so I can control how often I do that. Drums, I kind of need a band. Yeah. And I left my last band, Tinted Plates. They were from Ball State. I got with them through Jude Haywood. That's how that worked out. Friend of the show, podcast episode number 12. So for like 6 days, for just about 6 days, I was just single when it came to bands, and I was like, cool, it's fine. And then I was in the bathroom at work, doom scrolling at 9 a.m. And I find myself a DM from this band account that I found out was from Louisville, Kentucky. 2 hours south. Muncie's 2 hours north. So I was like, oh, I wonder what this could be. And it said, hey, man, I see your videos a lot, and I really like your stuff. I think you'd be a great fit for something I want to work on. I want to do a 21 Pilots tribute show in October. Would you be down? And my jaw was agape. So I think I've talked about it on every episode so far since it's happened. But so I'm sure people are tired of hearing about it. But I don't want to just tell you and be like, what are you talking about? That sounds cool. I gave you the foresight. Yeah. But that's going to be October 18th at this place called Vernon Lanes.
That's my birthday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's on Saturday. Well, I probably won't be able to live stream this stuff, but you'll see videos.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm very
That's
excited.
Right up your alley,
it's
too.
It's right up my alley. I've been training for this on accident since I was 12 years old. The joke I've been making is like if I was like sick and like they Make-A-Wish came to me, I'd be like, I was like, can I play?
We just got dark again.
Yeah, I know. But I was like, if I was given the choice, like, yo, the world's your oyster, I would obviously be like, all right, I won't probably be like realistic. I'm like, oh, can you think you can get Jack Sparrow back in here? I would be more like, I want to play drums and I want to like play a show where I get to just play 21 Pilots songs, but then someone asked me to do it, and I'm getting compensated for it financially.
And you're not sick.
I know, yeah.
You're sick,
yeah,
but you're not.
Right. That's right. It's ill, but not ill. So it's a lot of stuff's working out. Look,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so damn excited about it. And today I was working on a drum cover schedule where I can do a bunch at once and then slowly release them every week. That way I can practice the show more. Because I'm in pretty good shape now. I try to take care of myself, but I know that show is going to take a lot of inertia, a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, a lot of tears, a lot of enthusiasm, and I got to make sure I'm ready to do that when it's happening. So we might take it other places too, because the guy's name is Ryan. The band's called Quiet Confidence. This is going to be our little tribute band's going to be called Heathens, respectively, because one of their lead singles is called that from like 2016.
I get that reference.
Yeah, great. It's the first song I ever learned on drums, so it made a lot of sense for us. And my Uncle Nick used to call me that all the time.
Tying back to movies, that was in the first Suicide Squad movie.
That's right. Yeah, it's in the end credits. Yeah. And it ties into the music video. Very cool. And the logo we came up with, I borrowed the font from the behind the scenes video that I remember seeing years ago, and I was like, we should get that real quick. And I was like, Ryan, do your thing, and he made us a logo. So more of that to come whenever it comes. But
that's great.
A month before that, about 3 weeks before that, I am hosting a comedy show upstairs at the Groggy Goat. I did this back in May, and it was very, very new. I was very worried, but it was very exciting. And I was asked to do it again. And this is on my mom's birthday, September 26th, on a Friday.
Okay.
And I've contacted a bunch of comedians so far. 6 of them are totally confirmed to do it. And then 2 more that are bigger, kind of big gets, are still not got back to my DMs yet. But this is July 1st. This is over. You have all of July, all of August, and most of September. I'm not that worried about it. But
very nice.
There's a Google form I will link in the description of this podcast on YouTube and Spotify, so you can find that and sign up there. But that's what I got going on right now.
It's good stuff.
For now. Oh, yeah. Very, very excited. It's there's these 2 very major things going on. And obviously, I want to stay consistent. I want to have more shows and stuff, but I get to plan. And I get to like really put all my inertia. I keep saying inertia wrong or using it the wrong way. Put all my, I don't know.
Inertia's good.
I guess inertia is good. All of my energy towards them, So it's because, like I said, I want to do drums and comedy, and so this fall is going to be a pretty big deal. And then
that's great.
And then also another idea I thought I'd run by you. Some of your favorite movies that I remember: Jaws, Scream, Back to the Future are on that list. That's true. I've wanted for a long time. You like DVDs.
Sure do.
They don't make them like they used to.
No.
Even like the decals on, they're all gray and has like very small lettering. You can't even read it sometimes. And the special features go downhill around the 2010 era.
Yep.
And they're eventually going to be obsolete. But something that we're going to miss out on, people younger than me aren't going to really know about, is commentary on movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a very on your topic about a trait about being organized for teaching, a very, very organized note folder, and I have you down just hypothetically if we were to watch Back to the Future and just talk over it the whole time.
Yeah.
that would be another episode, another Matt Smith feature. I don't know if I can bring a TV in here, or we could find a TV.
I'm sure we could find something.
We could find a TV, but like, would you be interested in doing that? Yeah.
Immediately, yes.
Okay, awesome. Because I know we would have to pause it and stuff, but the idea is that I want to just like just tell people like where you can find it whenever the podcast is pretty, or get the DVD or whatever. Just like throw the movie on, put it on mute, throw the podcast on, and just listen to us. You get to watch it in a different light. Because I've seen the movie a lot of times, and I know you have as well. It's Tarantino describes it, you describe it. It's like one of those perfect movies where it's just like it's fun, it's got everything you need, and it's just an instant classic. I've known about it like my whole life. I have a very vivid memory of watching the second one growing up because I think my dad was watching it. I took a screenshot in my mind of the burnout flames.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what that is. And but then as I rewatched them, and I was like probably 10 or 11, like that very pivotal, like, oh, pop culture is cool, like that kind of era.
Yeah.
I think I was actually whenever 2015, so it was like perfect. That was like the year they went to. Yeah, that's when I got introduced to them. So they're a big part of my film bro encyclopedia, and I know that that would be a good way to kick it off. I might do Willy Wonka by myself first though.
Okay.
Because I have my mom down for the Goonies or Pulp Fiction. Very opposite side of the spectrum, but it's movies that she's shown me as I've gotten older.
Yeah. Do both.
I think we might. Yeah, a little double feature. We should also do Pitch Perfect because that's a movie her and I watch a lot. But yeah, all right. We'll figure that out later on. It'd be something. I'm trying to fill my winter up, like I said earlier. Just see what I can do with that without drumming a lot, and just that's one of the things I'll hit you up about that in the future. So, people, 2 hours in, look out for that.
2 hours. Felt like 10 minutes.
I know. It flew by. I know. Wow. And the funny part, and this is a very insider thing, but when we take our headphones off, it's going to feel like part of our head is missing because we're so used to each other in the headphones for the past 2 hours.
For sure.
It's happened every episode, and it always bugs me out. I'm like, what do you... forgot. You don't have headphones genetically.
No.
My bad. Forgot about that. This is also one of the first episodes where there's going to be a bit of an outro. And I'll tell you about the outro after I stop the recording because it's very... I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I've yet to record it as of recording this, but it'll make a lot of sense. So, Matt, so I can call you that now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for doing this.
Of course.
We'll do this again.
I'm so glad you asked.
Absolutely. You're the first guy. Your first guy on my list. I was like, yeah, for sure. Matthew. Is that your full name?
It is.
Yeah, but Matt's cooler.
Yep. It's easier to say.
Yeah, for sure. And double T's is nice. That's right. Well, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yes, sir.
Adios.
Later, dudes.